guys, I'm checking out a film from 2009. That movie is The Final Destination. Not to be confused with the original Final Destination, which came out 9 years before it. I still don't know why they didn't bother to put a number on this, and they thought that just calling it The Final Destination would separate it enough from the first one to not sound like a remake. But hey, I am not about to question that. Now, I've already sat through the first 3 Final Destination films, as you guys who follow this channel have seen, and I have not been a big fan. I do certainly find a whole lot of the kills to be cool. It's just that everything else around it kind of sucks. Or well, rather, the special effects are cool, the acting's okay. It's just that the writing has been shit. And it makes these films a torturous bore to get through. Now, the plus side is, at least according to the Blu-ray case here, this one is the shortest out of the first 4 by almost 10 minutes. So at least my suffering will be short-lived on this one. I only have to sit through 82 minutes of garbage. Well, possible garbage. I have no idea if they fixed any of the problems that were already in the previous films. Who knows, though, guys? This thing could be a massive turnaround. We could have characters who are actually likable, characters who you're not going to wish fucking death on. You know, perhaps maybe the actual story will flow, decently. Perhaps, honestly, the rules of death will stay constant to one of the other sets of rules established in the previous films, instead of going, no, fuck it, and taking broad fucking strokes and then sort of rewriting the rules from here. I have no idea. But I swear to God, if somebody just randomly drops any information on the flight from the first film, if somebody brings up flight fucking 180, I am not going to be happy, because I'm sick and tired of hearing about that goddamn flight. But the only way, guys, I'm going to find out if this thing is any good at all is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The Final Destination. Well, guys, at least there is one positive here. This song is fucking amazing. I certainly do hope, guys, that is a sign of good things to come. God, I hope that's a sign of good things to fucking come. Oh boy, guys. Again, I was only off by about 2 minutes before this thing hit its fucking, before it hit its big fucking, premonition of all kills. Here, guys, is sort of the thing. In the previous films, the whole death fucking sequence, the whole friggin' premonition death sequence, at least looked awesome. This thing had CG that looked so awful, it looked like it came out of a Sci-Fi Channel film. This thing was put out in theaters. That is nothing short of fucking shameful. And guys, and the CG is like one of the few things I had to look forward to in these movies. God, that was fucking hideous. Well, guys, I will say that this is the first time I think I've ever seen a truly karmic death in one of these films. That was actually really cool. Kind of a pity that a severed head is obviously a rubber head. It's kind of sad that that fucking CG was awful, but at least the concept of the kill was fucking awesome. At least I can say that. Sure enough, guys, I called it. They had to look up premonitions, and the first thing that comes up is Flight 180. Was Flight fucking 180 like the very first time anybody ever saved other people thanks to a fucking premonition? Is that honestly why that seems to be the top Google hit every single time one of these fucking movies has some retard who goes in and does fucking research? Swear to God, guys, this whole series makes it basically sound as if this sort of thing never fucking happened until Flight 180, and it's really kind of lazy. Seriously, you couldn't have maybe had them find the shit involving the coaster from the third film, or the car wreck from the second. No, it always goes right back to 180. Fuck this movie. You know, guys, you would really think that watching somebody drown in a fucking car wash would be really interesting. It's not. This actually is one of the more boring kills I've seen in this franchise. Not fucking since the 5 minutes of build-up leading up to the nail gun kill in 3 have I seen a kill that was this just genuinely dull. Well, thankfully, though, now we've cut away to something else because, you know, it's just going to be boring as shit to watch her fucking car fill up. But still, guys, it doesn't help the fact that this kill, in fact, this whole scene, shit, this whole movie is absolute garbage. So, we just saw a barrel of chemicals which had a label on it which said that it was spontaneously combustible. You do know, guys, that means that it goes off without any warning, right? That is exactly what spontaneous combustion is. At that point, there's why the hell then tease all of the whole flames are coming towards it, because then it's not spontaneous combustion, then it's just plain old ordinary everyday vanilla combustion. And they've set that shit up. They built that bullshit up for about 4 fucking minutes. And it was stupid. It was fucking lame as shit. I swear to God, guys, this movie is, like, worse in every conceivable way. This thing is worse than any of the previous Final Destination films, and goddammit, I can't wait for the fucker to end. Well, guys, that was the Final Destination. Jesus Christ. What a pity that it's not the actual Final Destination. No. It can't be. I've got one more I still have to fucking cover. Anyway, you know, I remember when I talked about the first 3, I was able to say that the acting was decent and the special effects were good. You know, it's just that the whole thing was brought down and just crumbles because of the shitty writing. I can't say that anymore. And it's not because the writing has gotten better, it's because everything else has gotten substantially fucking worse. I'm going to touch on that in just a sec, but first I guess I should hit on writing, because as has been the way with this franchise, writing is its biggest sin, you see. Because for the 4th straight film, we have a cast of characters who have almost negative personality, almost no personality at all. Guys, there is more personality on this fucking pen than there is across the entire cast here. Okay? Our characters are that lifeless. Our characters are that forgettable. For fuck's sake, guys. One of the victims, one of the people who cheats death is so fucking shallow. I'm looking at the credits right now because I have it paused on a stretch of the credits. He doesn't even have a fucking name. His name is Racist because that was his entire fucking thing. Was racist. Well, we also have, let's see here, we also have MILF, Mechanic, Racist's Wife, Cowboy. These were all victims. All of them. Well, except for the Racist's Wife. She died at the fucking track. But you know, the other ones. MILF, Mechanic, Racist, Cowboy, those were all victims. Those were all people who we got to see cheat fucking death at the very start. This film is so shallow and shit that they couldn't even fucking give us their names. And even the MILF's husband and her 2 kids don't have fucking names. They basically named our 5 leads, and then that's it. That's it. No more. Just done. Oh, fucking hell. So our characters are absolutely lifeless and pointless. You can sum up almost all of them in one word, whether it be racist or black or douchebag. Honest to God, that's I just summed up the racist. I believe George. I think George was our requisite black guy, and Hunt is our douchebag. But that's literally all they have for personality, and nobody else is any fucking better. Again, guys, we have characters named Racist, Mechanic, and Cowboy. That should tell you how much personality they have. Cowboy is only named Cowboy because he wore a cowboy hat at the fucking track. Yeah, fucking hell. So yeah, our characters, what fucking characters? There is no personality amongst any of them. Now, as also is the way with this series, they have to change the way that death functions, because naturally, even though death has this grand plan and you're not allowed to fuck with it, you can't be constant with exactly what happens to the people who cheat death or exactly how death is going to go after them. Allow me to run down what happened in the previous films before I touch on this one. In the first film, they were all able to cheat death, and then death just basically picked them off in the order that they would have died on the plane. All right, that's totally cool. And then there's that idiotic rule about if you save one, it bumps you. If you save someone, it bumps them to the back of the line. Death will take out the next one. All that stupid, inane horse shit that still sticks around even today. Second film, same thing, except now death is working backwards. Why? Fuck you, that's fucking why. The third film, death once more is working from who would have died first forward. Only now you can tell exactly how each person is going to die because there's photographic evidence of it. This one, the person who has the premonition has premonitions throughout the entire motherfucking film, and it spoils exactly how the deaths are going to happen. At least, guys, the third one, when it had the whole thing with the fucking photos, there were times when you didn't get to see the photo, or they didn't find the photo until afterwards, which then left that kill to be a nice surprise. I liked that. This one, no. He has a fucking vision. He then has to call whoever the hell he thinks is next on the list, and he has to give them the warning. The warning's almost always the same, which is avoid fucking water. Why? Because like half of these kills were predicated on water. We had a kill in a car wash. Wait, was that actually a kill? This movie is so fucking boring, I can't even remember if she actually died in the car wash. I know for a fact that they saved her. No way, I believe she did make it all. Yeah. She was the one who made it to the end. So they tried to kill her in the car wash by drowning her. And her douchebag boyfriend was killed in a swimming pool. Cowboy was killed in the hospital when a tub overflowed on the floor above and drowned him. The ones that don't directly have to do with water normally have to do with fire, except for the MILF who took a pair of scissors to the fucking eye. Oh, Jesus Christ. Guys, there's nothing of interest here in terms of the kills either. That right there was like the one thing which at least the writers were able to do right in the previous films, were to make the kills interesting. Here, there's very little in terms of interesting kills. I'm actually trying to think if there were any kills in this film I can say are truly fucking memorable. And outside of the NASCAR crash at the fucking start, and the dragging and the flaming dragging death early on, everything else is boring. Because once more, they spend way too long setting up for it. You know, it's like you cannot do a slow drowning in a fucking car wash. You cannot do the whole oh fuck me man, he is stuck honestly in the suction port of the pool. You can't do that. That takes way too fucking long and it gets really boring and there's almost no payoff outside of, well, in one case he dies and even the evidence that he is dead is kind of shit because it tied into this movie's absolutely idiotic and unnecessary 3 fucking D gimmick. Guys, the writing in this movie was terrible. It's by far the worst out of the entire Final Destination franchise. Hopefully, Final Destination 5 is not going to further, go down that hole. Maybe Final Destination 5 will actually be an improvement. I fucking doubt it, but right now, guys, I have to kind of sort of work off of hope, otherwise I'm never gonna watch the fucking thing. So, okay, our writing is worse than anything else that the series has had. What about the acting? Well, in the previous three films, the actors actually put in some level of fucking effort. Here, there was no goddamn effort. Here, the actors phoned it in. It was dull, it was boring, it was shit, and that's probably because all of them knew that they were going through the motions. It was going to be another bullshit film in a franchise that people stopped fucking caring about after the second film. Okay, I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out how the fuck this thing made it to 5 movies. But by the fourth, the cast stopped fucking caring, and you can tell. There is no effort put into any of this. Every single line is given in the deadest fashion possible, which makes the whole thing even more of a tedious, slogging bore to get through. It's just that fucking bad. Oh, God. Guys, I'm trying to think if there was anybody in this film who tried in the slightest way. I guess the racist wasn't too bad. It's really sad, guys, when the one person who actually tries is also playing the most fucking disgusting character in the film. But at least he put in some level of effort. What the fuck was his name? It was Justin Wellborn, according to the credits here. The racist is the only one who fucking tried. The racist is the only one who actually feels real. Everyone else just sounds as if they're just reading off of as if they're either reading off of cue cards, or they just read their line not 30 seconds before being pushed in front of the fucking camera. It sounds awful. It sounds wooden. It sounds stilted, and it makes this whole mess even worse. Now, the crown jewel of these films, outside of the kills, has always been the special effects. And I mentioned how in the third film the special effects took a slight dip because they had to make them a bit more, 3D to sort of tie in with the whole 3D thing. This film also does that. I will touch on the 3D gimmick in just a moment, but let's just touch on the regular special effects. All of it is a massive step down. Our practical effects are shit. Guys, I remember seeing guts and body parts and severed heads in the previous films, and they at least looked kind of real. In this thing, when the racist's flaming head goes flying into a fucking yard, you can tell that it's made out of fucking, plastic. It looks that fake. Our guts look that fake. Our blood looks that awful. There's nothing here in terms of practical effects that looks even half good. And that is a massive step down, because that was at least the one thing that this series knew how to do well, was practical special effects, and they absolutely shit the bed on this thing. Now, what about CG? Well, besides the fact that the CG has to tie into the whole fucking 3D thing, when it's not being obnoxiously 3D, again, I will cover that in just a sec, it looks like the kind of fourth-rate CG you'd see in a fucking sci-fi film. I'm talking a Sci-Fi Channel original picture. I'm talking the kind of bullshit that was put up by the fucking Asylum. That is how bad this looks. It looks that fucking terrible, okay? No, actually, that honestly is a horrible, horrible insult. That is a terrible insult to fucking Asylum. At least the Asylum tries. This stuff looks awful. Guys, this movie came out in 2009. It has CG that would have been awful for 1999. It looks hideous. Part of that has to do with the fucking 3D. Now I'm going to talk about the fucking 3D. Besides the fact that I can't stand the very gimmick of 3D because I see no purpose or point in it, this film is actually actively ruined by the fact that there's so much shit in 3D. Now, you guys have seen me cover a lot of films that were originally shown in 3D, and I always sort of like to mock about how it tries to make things look as if it's coming out at you, and I usually do this. There's actually a shot in the film of a guy just like this. And it holds like that for like 3 seconds, as he's basically like reaching out for somebody, and it stays like that. Specifically so they can do the whole 3D thing on the hand. And it looks stupid. It looks so fucking lame. And it would probably look just as lame in 3D as it does in 2D. That is how ugly that one shot looked, and that one wasn't even CG. But all of the CG which gets tied in when we have guts and like body parts and blood and metal and everything else just flying at you, it looks awful. Once more, it looks like something out of the late 90s. It looks that unnatural. It looks that shit. I kind of had a fear that we were in for a terrible thing when, during the very first premonition of the film, we see this sheet of paper down by the fucking track, or like really close to the racetrack, because this is all at some redneck fucking like stock car thing. And then the sheet, with the awesome power of CG, it has to float into the air, has to do a whole bunch of twists, has to carry across 4 or 5 rows of seats to land perfectly next to our main character, the one who's having the fucking premonition. Now, they had to do that in CG, A, because you have to get that sheet to travel that whole way, because fuck you, that's, why. It seriously couldn't just blown over from say maybe like a couple of seats over. No, it had to be on the floor and go all the way. That's also because they wanted to do the whole 3D thing on the fucking sheet. And because of that, our CG sheet of paper looks fucking hideous. all of the CG in this film looks awful. If anybody here has spent any time in any basic CG modeling program, you can do better. You can do better CG at home than what's in this fucking movie. And this is a major studio film from fucking New Line. New Line knows how to do better special effects than this, probably on a lower budget than whatever the fuck this movie got, and that is nothing short of shameful. You had one thing in this fucking franchise, one big thing, and you fuck it up that badly. And you take a bad film and you make it infinitely worse because you don't know how to do your special effects worth shit, and it's nothing, and it is nothing short of tragic, because that was the one thing I had to look forward to, and you took that the fuck away from me, New Line. I hope you're fucking happy. So that covers all the real negatives. What about everything else? Well, our sound mix is competently done. Of course, that's not a huge fucking challenge. Our fucking camera work is decent when it's not being ruined by god-awful CG or terrible acting. At least the camera work is competent. Our fucking lighting is done really well. Our soundtrack is amazing. Our score is good. Just to sort of go back to special effects and CG for just a moment, I will say that there was one bit of CG I thought was really cool. Alright? And that was the opening credits. Because the opening credits is basically nothing but X-ray shots of skeletons as they go through every kill, or, well, almost every kill, from the previous three films. I sat there watching it going, okay, one, that one there's from part 3, that one there's from part 2. I could call where each one came from, partially because I've been watching these rather quickly, because I just want to get the fuck through them. You know, that much at least looked cool. And the final shot when Death finally takes our last three characters, spoiler alert on that, but then again, but see, if you're already up to the 4th film in this series, you already know everyone dies, because that's part of the fucking plot. You know, it then cuts back to the same fucking, like, CG skeleton X-ray thing, and it still looks kind of sort of cool. But that's it, guys. Our opening credits and our parting kill shot is like the 2 moments in this film where the CG is actually done well. Everything else in terms of CG is shit. Once more, our sound mix is good. Our soundtrack is awesome. Our lighting is decent. Our camera work is good. But guess what? Barring the fucking soundtrack, because that honestly can be totally fucked up if you put enough shitty songs in it. The rest of it is all technical shit. Technical shit which barely counts when we're talking about a major studio film, because if there's one thing which at least they can do right, it's lighting, camera, and sound mix. So I can't even really count those. When all is said and done, guys, am I able to recommend The Final Destination? No. Fuck no. Even if you were a fan of the previous films, even if you liked the first 3, you liked them as cheesy, stupid, gory fun, you're probably going to despise this one, because where the first 3 were trying to take a slightly more lighthearted spin on this film went ultra dark in tone. And or I should say dark in tone compared to the previous 3. And it kind of ruins this even further. Guys, I may not have liked the first 3, but I at least liked how there was a little bit of a lighthearted edge to every single kill. This film didn't have that. This film was trying to play every single kill incredibly serious and incredibly powerful, and it fails miserably because this film series can't do serious. It just fucking can't. So even if you liked the first 3, there's no way in shit I think that you're going to like the 4th one. This thing was hideously bad. There's no way in hell I'm going to recommend it to anybody. There's no way I can recommend it to fans. I certainly am not going to recommend it to non-fans. And if you've never seen the series, do not start with this one. Start with 1, start with 3. Fuck. I would even say watch fucking 2. At least those 3 are better than this one. Let me grab that Blu-ray case. I had it over here. So, all 4 of these fucking things came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was my friend Stu. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/thevodkahaze. Stu, I thank you. I've said this across the first three, and I'm gonna say it here. I was really curious about this series, and I never had the chance to watch them, and thanks to sending in these, I had my chance to get started on them. Now I've got to sit through the fifth one, see if the fifth one is any good, and I really have my doubts on that fifth one. But I would never have even considered watching the fifth one if you hadn't sent in these, and for that I thank you. You're fucking awesome, dude. Once more, that is youtube.com/user/thevodkahaze. Now, speaking of a vodka haze, I'm going to go drink heavily in order to try to forget that I even watched this god-awful movie. And then perhaps when I come, and perhaps maybe when I come fucking to from my fucking blackout, maybe I'll find something decent to watch. Let's see. Might as well have something, like, set aside for when I fucking sober up. Akira. Why not? I see it. I see it sitting right there. You know what? In fact, I think not only am I going to watch Akira, I'm going to watch Akira with the fucking original 80s English dub, because I need something fun and cheesy right now. And that's sounding really good. But first, as I said, I'm going to go and drink myself stupid. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.